Welcome to episode 2 of my Return to Exercise Postpartum series. Today we're going to do a little bit of a breathing crash course. One of the things we really want to focus on with breathing postpartum is making sure that you're managing pressure within your abdomen. We have our thoracic diaphragm up here that is kind of like a dome like this, and then we have our pelvic diaphragm or pelvic floor down here, and they actually mimic each other like this as we inhale and exhale. So we want to make sure that as we inhale and our thoracic diaphragm drops down, that we're also allowing our pelvic floor to relax so that that pressure can be managed. If we don't allow the pelvic floor to relax, and let's say we're like holding it really tense, or as we inhale, we get this increase of pressure that's happening within our abdomen. So we want to make sure that that pressure is being managed so that we don't have any excessive pressure going downwards into the pelvic floor, which is where we would experience things like incontinence or leakage, increase of bulging sensations with things like prolapse, those sorts of symptoms that we want to avoid. One of the easiest ways that we can feel our pelvic floor relax is actually in a lying down position, but I will just show you in a standing position so that you can see it a little bit easier. When we are breathing with exercise, we want to make sure we're doing a diaphragmatic breath or a 360 breath the entire way around our ribs. So instead of a breath that we would typically see up here, where our shoulders are being lifted, where our neck gets a little bit tense, we want to focus the breath more around our ribs. So as you inhale, you should see an expansion outwards this way. Rather than now, as you inhale, you should feel a little bit of that pelvic floor relax downwards. If you don't, this is probably something that you should see a pelvic floor therapist about. They will be able to walk you through it a lot more easily, individualized for you than I would be able to do through a video. So as you inhale, your pelvic floor should relax downwards. As you exhale, it should contract up, and it should just be this rhythmical movement that happens like this. We never want to hold our breath while we are exercising. What happens then is we have a lot of increased pressure within our abdomen. Typically, if you need to hold your breath while you're doing an exercise, the exercise is probably too difficult for you and you need to find a regression. Then you can progress as you are able to do a proper breath, core activation, all of that kind of stuff. Now, if you find a diaphragmatic breath is difficult for you, one of my favorite ways to kind of focus your breath there is to put some sort of band or belt around your lower ribs and breathe into the resistance of the band. And that gives you just a little bit of a feedback from the outside as to where you need to focus your breath. Breathing is one of the most important parts to managing pressure within our abdomen and keeping